Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review here for a film that everybody was making a big deal out of last year in 2023, and for me, it's one of those films that actually did hit the hype. Everyone from Red Letter Media to all of the other movie review channels I watch were talking about this, and let me tell you, this movie's really good. It's good for what it is, and I think in hindsight, after not seeing it for over a month now, in hindsight, I kind of keep thinking about how I want to see this movie again. I kind of am debating on buying a physical copy for my collection because I enjoyed it so much. It's a really solid flick called Cobweb. Definitely above average, cool little flick, and if you like things like Goosebumps, mainly Goosebumps, or Are You Afraid of the Dark, it has a little bit of all of that in its soul, even though it's clearly, I'm pretty sure, an R-rated film with a little bit of blood in the third act. Not a ton, but a little bit of blood and gore. The movie has this wonderful setting, a very fall October feel to it in case you haven't seen it, and I recommend it highly if you can't tell already. I think it's a fantastic movie that deserves a bigger audience than what it's got. It should have never went straight to streaming. This should have been in theaters, this should have been a massive hit, and I think it would have been. But I feel like it was a way of Hulu or Disney or whoever kind of testing the waters to see how much something like this would take off, just like they did with Prey, the Predator sequel, which was awesome. It's my favorite Predator film, probably. Haven't decided on that yet. I'm not a big Predator fan, but that movie kicked ass. Cobweb felt like a testing the waters movie, just to see what people would do on home release. And this one, by word of mouth and by the quality of the film, it took off in popularity. And I think I really wanted to go ahead and make a review to kind of put your eyes on it in case you've heard about it and haven't checked it out still. Yeah, it's better to watch this during like October or fall or whatever, but man, it's a great flick. I recommend it highly. So basically you have a kid in this film who is our main character essentially, and he comes from a house with two really weird parents. The dad is from The Boys. I think he plays like Homelander or whatever the guy's name is. I don't watch The Boys, so I don't really know the character names, but Anthony Starr. And he's in it, and he and his wife are very, very, very weird people. Possibly like personality disorder people, I don't really know, but they have this poor young kid in the mix of all this. He's also bullied at school. You cannot help but feel bad for this kid. This little boy's performance is wonderful. He is so good in this movie. And at one point he begins to hear kind of scratching and then a voice in the wall of a woman talking to him. And there's some interesting things she has to say to him that make him begin to doubt his parents, doubt his personal life with the bullies at school and whatever. And he begins to become friends with this voice on the wall. Now let me tell you up front, I usually do not like and get annoyed very much by person-in-the-wall movies. I usually can't stand that. It irritates the hell out of me. There's a lot of movies that came out in the last few years that have had this concept, and in previous years, like The Boy, for example. I can't stand that subgenre. I think it is so stupid and so lazy nowadays. And I think The Boy started that whole thing. But this movie does it in such a unique way with that kind of, again, a Goosebumps feel to it that really makes it work. It's got a supernatural element, and by the end of it, if you're not completely invested in this poor kid or in what's going on, I don't know what to tell you. I also love the setting of the film, as I mentioned earlier, because he's basically got like a pumpkin patch in his backyard. It's a very small yard, but in the backyard there's a pumpkin patch, and it fits this very fall kind of nature to this movie. The film is very gothic in a lot of ways. The way it's shot, it's not like Tim Burton architecture on buildings and stuff. It just has this very kind of gloomy, foggy look outside. I love it. It's kind of like when you watch the original Halloween despite it not being shot in the fall. It just fits this time of the year. The cinematography is beautiful. The directing is fantastic. The camera work is fantastic. There's some really great scares in here when it really takes off. I don't know if I'd call this a scary movie per se. It's not filled with jump scares or anything like that. It's just, it almost has this twinge of a Sam Raimi feel to it. Like, think of the original, well, I don't want to say the original Evil Dead because I actually think that's pretty creepy. Maybe a little bit in the Evil Dead 2 realm. Even though I'm not a fan of Evil Dead 2, it still has that twinge of a little bit of goofiness to it that makes it work way better, but it's not a comedy at all. It's a very serious movie, and I love that about it. For people that wanted something that's a little bit goofier than Babadook, this is what that is, and it's wonderful. I love that about it. I think it's absolutely one of the most recent creative films that I've seen in a long time. And again, when it comes to a person-in-the-wall story, this is one of the best of all time ever. It's a shocking film. It's great. It's fun. A really fun time, by the way. I got invested in all the characters, every actor in the film, whether it be the voice on the wall, the young boy, which is usually a big hang-up for people like me when it comes to movies, because child actors that are good are not very common. Not everybody can be a McKenna Grace, and this kid is great. Let me tell you that. But everybody is good. The parents are good, obviously. I love it. I love Cobweb. I recommend it so highly. It's a wonderfully crafted movie that has so much creativity behind it, and it deserves every bit of praise that it's gotten. It lives up to the hype, and I really hope you'll take my recommendation and check it out. This is not a hidden horrors video because I heard about it from big channels. Everybody was talking about this, whether it be, again, Red Letter Media. I think Chris Stuckman and Jeremy Johns did videos on it, and it deserves every bit of love that it's gotten from people. People are discussing sequels. If we ever got one, I would be great with that. I'm sure you could do a lot with this concept, but I don't want it to be ruined. I want this to kind of be a standalone film that could just be so special as it is. I could totally see like a Rian Johnson coming in and trying to subvert expectations and ruining the movie. I really could see that happening. The less you know, the better going into this film, and I really think it excels at that if you approach it that way. Anyway, great movie. Really great film that I really recommend, and I'm going to rate it a little bit lower than I think most people would, but this is the thing. In hindsight, I want to buy it in my physical collection for my media, DVDs and Blu-rays and all that, but I also, in hindsight, keep thinking about this movie, and I've been meaning to come around and make a review about this film, but I keep thinking about it. I can't let it go out of my brain, and I really think that if I watched it again, I'd probably give it a 5 out of 5. But for right now, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars, like a really high 4 out of 5 stars. It's almost a 5 for me, maybe by next year, because this will probably be like what my friend Horror FFA said on his channel. This is probably going to be a yearly watch for me when it comes to around Halloween time, and I already have so much shit that I watch at that time of the year, like the Archie's Unsolved Mysteries TV show from back in the, the 90s? I don't know what time that came out. But I watch things like that and some of the Halloween films and different things like that around that time of the year. I don't know how I'm going to fit this into that time frame, but I really want to, at least for this year, to rewatch it because it was so solid and so impressive. Anyway, have you seen Cobweb? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about this awesome film and my review for it down in the comments section down below. Again, really high 4 out of 5 stars for me, but it's bordering right on a 5 out of 5. It is a massive recommendation for me. If you have not seen it, this is something you really should take the time out to go watch. And again, it's on Hulu. I'm assuming Disney owns it. I don't know, but it is absolutely worth the time you spend on it, especially if you like a Sam Raimi type of film. I'm surprised he wasn't involved producing this or something, so that was cool to me. Anyway, have you seen it? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about it down in the comments section down below. Once again, God bless you all. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.